It's not enough for us to be organized and focused in our athletics. We need to maintain that focus and consistency in the classroom as well. We need to be able to take information in efficiently, process that as short-term memory, and then transfer it into our long-term memory so we can use it further down the road. This comes in three steps. One, acquiring knowledge. Two, consolidating the knowledge. And three, reviewing and retaining the knowledge. Acquiring knowledge is as it sounds. It's taking in information. In this case, concentration is key. We need to be focused on what we're being taught and what we're reading. My favorite tip, once again, going to class. Acquiring knowledge begins with going to class and taking in that information. But going to class isn't enough, as you need to be present. Make sure you're there to learn and not just to sit and watch the clock. Make sure you also take effective notes, both in lecture as well as when you're doing your readings. For math, science, and engineering students, practice problems are key for understanding material, so make sure you stay on top of these at all times. Consolidating information is the next stage. I went to lecture, I did the readings, now what? This is when you take the hours of lecture and you turn it into studying. It's where you review your lecture notes as well as your readings and you make those connections. It's where you organize information, you paraphrase, summarize, and synthesize information in your own notes, and you combine your notes and shrink the information down so it's more manageable as study notes for midterms, tests, and exams. The next stage is reviewing. It's exactly again as it sounds. It's where you test your knowledge, you can verbalize the content to yourself, discussing it with your friends and peers, and working together to anticipate test content and questions. Based on your learning styles, you can use things such as rewriting your notes in different colors, flashcards, or whatever works for you and makes you feel the most prepared going into tests. If there is any information you don't understand, please talk to your TAs and professors. They're there to help you. And more often than not, they're waiting for you to ask questions because that's what they're there for. Now, why review our lecture and readings over and over? Good question. So this diagram shows that on the first day, when you go to class and you've done your readings, you remember 100% of the information. Day two, as you can see on the yellow curve, you review it for 10 minutes, you'll still retain all of the information. A week goes by and say you spend about 5 minutes on it. You still remember almost 100% of the information. Now a month goes by and you're still reviewing it every day for about 2 to 4 minutes now, and you'll still remember it. Correspondingly, if you look at the black curve where you don't review it at all, slowly over time, and sometimes rapidly, you start to lose that information. So what does that mean? When you're studying for tests and exams, everything will seem new to you and nothing will seem familiar. Whereas if you do a little each day, you guessed it, you're studying along the way and it's less work for you down the road. When studying, make sure to be realistic. Breaking up tasks into smaller increments is always helpful for me. We've all heard of SMART goal setting, so that's one kind of framework I like to use, but there are many more as you can try. Another tip is 25 to 5 for encoding and consolidation. For every 25 minutes of notes, you consolidate 5. For every 50 minutes of continuous work, try giving yourself a 10-minute break. Trust me, breaks do matter and they're good for you. Always check in with yourself. What is your learning style? It may change over time. It may change depending on the types of course you're taking. Make sure you schedule fun. As busy student athletes, a lot of the times your workouts, training, practices, and games may seem like work, and so does schoolwork. So make sure that beyond that, you're doing something to kind of make yourself happy. Leave some empty space. Sleep, food, those things do matter. So make sure you have some buffer time in your calendar to take care of yourself. And lastly, be kind to yourself. That's step one. Some more tips I have are don't wait for inspiration. No one feels like doing certain types of work. Schedule tasks you dread because that way you commit to your plan and get them out of the way. If you don't plan prior to sitting down, you'll take the easier route and not do work. My example is doing laundry or playing NBA 2K for me is always more appealing than sitting down and figuring out what work I have to do. Whereas if I have a list of what I have to do, I'm more likely to stick to the plan. Another tip is that willpower is proportional to energy. Make sure you have the energy to expend. If you need a proper night's sleep to get work done, get that proper night's sleep. And always remember, if you get the task done earlier, you can relax later. It's almost like an incentive for completing tasks as a reward system that can be effective. And it's okay if you're not a morning person or a night owl. Know how you learn and how your body functions. But just remember, if you're up earlier, you have more hours in the day to spend doing work than if you get up at 2 p.m. I emphasize this a lot because of your student athlete schedules. Sleep and self care. Take care of your body. Try to sleep only at night. Naps may seem great, but sometimes they can throw off our sleep schedules as well as our eating schedules. Have a regular bedtime routine. No TV in bed. No homework in bed. Keep your bed for sleep only. That way your body knows that I'm going to bed, I'm going to sleep. No other distractions. And avoid screens and bright lights right before bed. Try to give yourself an hour buffer where you're just laying in bed without any screens. You'll notice over time that this helps you fall asleep much quicker and sleep much better. And avoid caffeine, sugar, alcohol, or eating very heavy meals right before bed. All these things will help you sleep better and in turn help you perform better in the classroom. And why do I keep emphasizing sleep? I mean, I love sleep, but beyond that, sleep is great for memory and consolidation. It helps you create new neuronal connections. It helps you repair and regenerate tissue in your body, strengthens immunity, purges clutter from the day, slows aging process, and you guessed it, better performance at your sport. So why not sleep more? University is something that seems like an individual activity. However, I view it as a team sport. It's what you make of it because of who's around you and what you have around you. Make sure you always use your resources. Some key resources are the Academic Success Center, the Accessibility Services Office, ASAP program, which I run, and its tutors, professors and TAs, faculty and college advisors and registrars' offices, writing centers at your colleges, the libraries, as well as the Health and Wellness Center. All these services combined will make sure that your university experience is one that's holistic and a lot easier. Some tools I have are the assignment calculator, which breaks down what you need to do at any given point in time when you have an assignment coming up. Calendar apps are also great, and checklists and to-do lists are my personal favorite. I like using a calendar on my phone, but there's something about having a physical calendar or checklist that makes me be able to check things off. And each other, hold each other accountable, check in on each other, and make sure to be there for one another because university is a long haul, so it's always nice to have a support system. So, a review of what we've learned today. Make sure you plan ahead, daily, monthly, weekly, by semester, as well as annually. Make sure to know yourself. Go to class because you're paying for it. Prioritize your tasks. You're not going to get everything done all at once. Review, review, and review. The more you review throughout the semester, the more of a breeze exam time will be for you. Trust me. Make sure to always take care of yourself, and that includes asking for help. Don't be afraid of doing that. We're all here to help. And be kind to yourself. No judgment. Thank you for joining me for today's session. My email and phone number, as well as my office hours, are on the screen right now. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to help. Contact me whichever way works best for you. Thank you, and have an awesome day.